It's the Fellowship of the Geek Show, a weekly podcast about comics, the comic book industry, and other geek pop culture. Music courtesy of Manny the Martyr. And now, on with the show!
Hey there, everybody. It's the Fellowship of the Geeks podcast. My name's Thomas Chick, and joining me for this episode is Mike Barlow.
Hey, gang.
Les Webster.
Hello.
Oh, shit. and Liz Newman.
Hey, gang.
I can't believe that threw you off. You didn't see that coming? Come on, man. You know less better than this.
How are you guys doing?
Wonderful.
Embalmed.
Hope everybody's doing okay out there. So what's been going on in your corner of the galaxy? He's afraid to ask.
I don't have a lot because I kind of found a weird rabbit hole to fall down this week. Right? I think you guys might actually be interested in this. They have found a way to genetically engineer mice, and now we have woolly mammoth mice. Cutest freaking things ever. Have you guys seen this yet?
No.
Yeah.
Do you want to see it?
When
No.
I first saw the report, it was like, this has to be like Babylon Bee or, The Onion or something. No, this is actually happening. They had some woolly mammoth DNA, and they've been trying to use it. And like I said, they found these little mice. They look like little freaking hamsters, like so totally freaking cute. But now, of course, me being the nerd that I am, it's like, isn't there a new Jurassic Park movie coming out? Wouldn't it be freaking amazing to have these little hamsters?
It's funny that you mentioned Jurassic Park, because I was been thinking about one particular line.
Me
Which
too.
one?
Just because they could do it doesn't mean they should do it.
Right? And who comes up with this? We'll take the biggest known animal that we have, and let's put it in the mice.
Well,
Yeah,
if you put it in
I
something
mean-
bigger, then you have the Jurassic Park situation on your hands. I mean, come on.
True. I guess we can control. What? Can we control mice?
Now, as well as we can control dinosaurs, obviously.
With a decent-sized sledgehammer,
Exterminators
yes.
are still in business. We haven't found a way to control that population. Especially when we keep pumping them full of steroids and drugs,
And making movies about them.
right? But yeah, that would that kind of threw me off because, like I said, when I first saw it, I was like, this has got to be, leftover April Fool's prank. You don't believe anything for like a month after the first, So, but no, they've actually done this. So, kind of weird. Like I said, I think I'd probably be against it if they weren't so cute. But yeah, I'll have to post that for you guys. Like I said, that's pretty freaking
Please,
weird.
by all means, do post it.
Absolutely.
Oh. But no, last night was the last episode of White Lotus. It's finally over. In true fashion, I was wrong. The body wasn't who I thought it was. But I've had a lot of fun with this one this season. I think the last time something made me so mad that I was even mad the next day, like I am right now, was the House of Usher. just kind of the ending and I won't really say mad, but still kind of makes you think kind of thing, so definitely good writing on the show. If you like a murder mystery kind of thing, he definitely, I don't know who he learned this from, because the only thing I've ever heard about him was he was a contestant on Survivor. I don't know how that played into this, but, it's been pretty good. So it's finally over. So definitely, if you guys haven't seen it, it's definitely the time to binge watch it, because I was so mad. There were so many things that you thought, well, this guy was plotting to kill his whole family, and you're like, well, definitely he's going to pay. And when you see him riding off on the boat like nothing freaking happened, it's like, dude, I want to smack you. Definitely, Walter Goggins is in this one. Goggins, yes. I think he stole the scene in every scene that he was in. There's one part where he's talking to his friend. I think that's probably a meme out there now because the look on his face. But, it's weird. After people pointed out his face, a lot of people are like, well, it's not just him. And they started showing other people, and it's like, yeah, this was a real expressive season. A lot of things were said with, what I call they filtered their mouth, but they couldn't their face, So actors were amazing on this. I can't wait to see where he picks for season 4. They said he hates the cold, so it won't be a skiing one or anything. So I'll be excited to see when they announce that. Now that this is wrapped, I'm sure it'll be soon, because season 4 was already approved. I think in February he was looking for locations, and they're all shot at the ritzy hotels. Four Seasons. So, and Four Seasons is everywhere. So he's got a lot of locations to pick from. He's picked some really beautiful places so far, so I'm sure he won't let us down for season 4 of that.
Now, just to make sure, we're talking about the Four Seasons Hotel, not the Four Seasons Landscaping, right?
Huh? Yeah, the hotels are like one of these places, where they're at right now in Thailand.
Someone out there got that reference. I know. I know someone did.
Just out of curiosity, I looked up where this place was that they're at, where they just finished at in Thailand. One of the suites that they have, now, of course, it's like a private bungalow and everything else, was like $56,000 a night. And it's like, who the fuck has that kind of money? And are they married? Do they want to be? But, it absolutely breathtaking. It's probably worth every penny because it was just beautiful. So I'm excited to see where he goes next.
Okay. I'm going to stop you here because you just talked about, are they married? Didn't we just get a whole thing before we started recording about her being upset about someone flirting on her husband?
Yeah. See, my husband, if I found a rich millionaire that wanted to take me away, he would be like,
or millionaire.
Yeah. He would be my little sugar baby on the side, of course.
Phil would get promoted to side piece. Wow. Yeah. Okay.
No, and I think the only person that Phil is even worried about would be Jensen Ackles. So we're good.
Are we though?
Right. It would take a lot,
Yeah.
Yeah. He wouldn't mind me being rich.
Wow.
Oh God, my head.
Just wow.
But no, and I did want to share some good news with you guys. It's not the woolly mammoth hamsters, but
as good a news as that was.
I think you all have met my niece Brienne. She's been to a couple of our meetups and everything else. She's always been listener to our show and everything. Sometimes it takes me off guard when I talk to her because she's like, "Oh yeah, you mentioned that on your show the other day," and I'm like, "Did I? you listened to me?"
What else did I say?
Right. Absolutely love her to death, but she is getting ready to have a baby, which I haven't shared because I never want to share other people's, that's her story kind of thing, so I made sure I had her permission today because she finally explained to me his name. And his name is going to be Ollie Birch, I think is the middle name. And at first that kind of took me, by, it's an unusual name. I like it, don't get me wrong, but I'd never heard of that. And then she explained to me that part of the reason that she agreed and she likes this is because look at his initials. It's going to be Obi. So my niece is giving birth to Obi. My little Padawan is giving birth to Obi. But I thought that was so cool. So I had to tell her, I said, of course, me as a nerd, I have to say I 110% agree. But, we always kidded around about them, they're walkers, or was. She's married now. But, being a Skywalker and that kind of thing. Well, her middle name is Rey. She was like, so almost being Rey Skywalker. I had to have an Obi. So it was like, oh my God, I love it. One, I love that my niece is a nerd, but, but I thought that was just absolutely adorable that I wanted to share with you guys. Because like I said, she is a listener, and I am so tickled pink that this baby's coming, little Obi. But now I'm going to have to get little Obi shirts and stuff. So I'm so excited. But I'm also very honored and grateful that today she did ask me to come to her sonogram. So not only did I get to hear about this great name they've picked out, but I actually got to see him. So it was awesome. But congratulations, Bree. Like I said, my little Padawan has grown up, and she's now birthing an Obi, which I also thought was kind of fitting for tonight.
A little bit.
So,
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yep. Good for her.
Yep. Pretty cool.
Yep.
But she's due in July, so you guys will definitely be hearing more about little Obi.
Oh, I'm sure we will.
Yeah. and speaking of, my little baby turns 6 tomorrow. Can y'all believe that? I think I first shared the news with you guys when they came over to my house and they're having a Batman or a Batgirl, so 6 tomorrow.
I seem to recall you sharing that news before you were supposed to, but yeah.
Yeah. It was, don't tell.
Glad you managed to hang on to this more recent one until you had permission. That's good.
Right. I did ask permission because, like I said, that's not my story, and I know some people don't like their personal life all out there. So, but she did say I could give little Ollie a shout out today. So,
yay!
Hey,
Ollie.
Isn't that cute, Ollie?
I keep thinking of the store.
But my mind.
It's a cool store. I like the store.
Phil likes that store. He goes there all the time.
I get great deals on graphic novels there.
Yeah, and I have found a few adult coloring books there that you could spend a lot more at Amazon for. So
cool.
I like it too because it's hit or miss. You never know what you're going to go find.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Ross with less clothes.
It's fun, but it sucks because I've been online and I've seen apparently some stores actually have omnibuses.
Huh.
And it seems like none of them here do. And that's like,
I was going to say, I don't think I've seen any here.
It's like, God damn it! You're talking about $100 or $125 omnibus going for like $50. Hey, I'll take that.
Mm. Hell yeah.
That would be nice.
It would only come down here.
Yeah. I guess maybe they keep those in areas where they know it'll sell. I'm not sure.
No,
I'm not sure how they handle overstock like that.
Well, no. From what I've seen, they're right there with all the other graphic novels and stuff. But so it's with the books and stuff.
I'll have to start keeping a better eye out and see.
And those are usually at the front of the store.
Yeah, and especially like I said, he goes almost weekly. You know? So I'll have to tell him to.
Honestly, I hadn't been in a while, so I need to go check. Maybe things have changed a little bit. I don't know.
He's always needing something for the farm, or I broke this, or I need this for work. It's like, whatever. Just admit it. Your Ollie's is like my Walmart. You ain't got to tell me. You just want to go see.
Hey, like you said, you never know what they may have. They may have something there just like, oh my God.
Yeah,
I gotta have that.
Yeah, he dropped me off today and took Leanne, and they went shopping because, like I said, tomorrow's her birthday. And he said they went to a couple of different places, but they still had time to come back, and I think they rode the elevator up and down. Doctor's appointment was like an hour and a half. And I'm thinking, you took this kid shopping and you're done? I mean, yet alone went somewhere else and rode the elevators. You know, do I need to teach you how to shop? Because that don't happen. You did it wrong.
Remember, men just walk through and go, shoes, got it.
Yeah.
Belt, got it.
Yeah, they know what they want. Yeah.
Well, that's what they were going for was shoes. So he's like, no, we went right to the shoes. And it's like, what? You just said this morning you needed pants. Did you check to see if they had pants?
No, they were pantsless.
Yeah.
Which was intriguing in the store, for sure.
Mm. Where's the store again?
In Rockwall, they would have looked weird with that, He must have came across the bridge.
Wow.
Yeah, I was just amazed they could do it that quick. And he found ones that fit her and were cute. So it was like, wow. Less than an hour. I'll take you shopping for real on Friday, baby.
That kind of defeats what he did, isn't it?
Nah, he just got her shoes. You can't get shoes without an outfit or
shopping.
something.
Yeah, no, he just went and bought her shoes. That's not the same as shopping.
Yeah, he's got to find her a little shirt that matches.
Shopping is an all-day affair.
Show it off,
Shopping is a social event. Buying shoes is just buying shoes.
Yeah. You gonna show your new shoes off with an old T-shirt? Doll it up.
Wow.
It's her birthday. Get her a birthday suit.
Yeah. I got no words for that one.
Yeah. Don't try. It's okay. Some things are better left unsaid. And I won't go into that song. So, although I love that song. So, alrighty.
Yeah, that's
Mikey.
it.
My turn, huh?
Yeah.
Please.
Where's your birthday?
Under my clothes. That's where my birthday suit is. But anyway, right where I left it.
Hopefully.
So,
Waka.
again, wow. So I actually did something odd. I followed my own advice.
Wow.
I mentioned.
You went shopping?
No, I did not go shopping. Oh,
Oh.
God, no. I don't know. I don't know. I don't do shopping.
That'd be against advice.
Very much so.
Like shopping. I can't. Yeah. Oh,
Not even a thing.
Not
No,
even Christmas shopping.
I did what I said I should do last week in this part of the show. I said, or somewhere along the way, I said I should go watch one of the Matt Helm movies just to see what it's about.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I inadvertently landed on The Silencers,
Woohoo!
which the reason it's inadvertent is because it's the first one. It came out in 1966. Starring Dean Martin, Stella Stevens, which I did not realize at the time. When I hit play, I didn't realize it was the one that Stella Stevens was in. So apparently I'm on a Stella Stevens kick now.
Yay. Hey, could do worse.
Yeah.
Oh, totally.
Algorithm caught you.
She was fun. No. It was the one in my own brain caught me, but just not on purpose.
The original algorithm.
Yeah. So yeah, it is. Matt Helm is apparently some sort of super spy who's in retirement, and they have to bring him back to save the world from an organization known as Big O, because they're trying to nuke, or they're trying to fire a missile into a nuclear test to wipe out a significant chunk of the United States and thus win whatever it is they're trying to do. They were a little unclear on this, but it's not surprising. It's a supervillain organization. What the hell do you want? So yeah, this is Dean Martining it up, and James Bonding it up too, because obviously this is, while it's not a direct ripoff of the Bond movies, there are definite elements. The thing is, though, that it's actually based, however loosely, on a series of books written by Donald Hamilton. There's like 27 of these things over like a 25-year span or 35-year span. It's a long time. He wrote a bunch of them. And they're all basically just spy books starring Matt Helm. So yeah, in this one, Stella Stevens is she's the girl who gets dragged into all of this. At least, well, she spends the whole movie trying to prove that she's the girl who gets dragged into all of this, though there are some really funny coincidences along the way. This is actually also a comedy, by the way, just should point that out. And it's actually fairly funny. And it's got enough story to make it vaguely interesting. It's also got enough flashy, cool stuff to make it interesting, and it's got enough Dean Martin to keep it interesting. It's got some little musical snippets in it, which is basically just Dean Martin singing the plot, which, whatever, it's fine. I can live with it. It's got a hell of a cast. There's a bunch of familiar faces in this movie from the mid to late 60s. The villain is a little cringy, but that's okay. It's cringy because it's Victor Buono playing an Asian guy and not doing a particularly good job of it. I mean, he's playing a good villain, but it's really hard to pass him off as an Asian guy. Just saying. Bunch of other familiar faces. James Gregory is in it.
I was about to ask. He was. I seem to kind of vaguely remember he was like the boss.
Yeah, he's the McDonald. He's the kind of the handler. The guy trying to bring Matt Helm back.
Right.
Roger Carmel is in it. People might not recognize his name, but if you're a Star Trek Original Series fan, you will know Harry Mudd for sure. He's also a bad guy in this, but that's okay. Robert Webber was in 12 Angry Men. He's also got one of those familiar faces, even if you don't know his name. You take one look at him and you're like, oh yeah, that guy. Yeah, so I mean, this is a fun movie. I liked it. I am steeped enough in James Bond to know kind of what's going on and kind of see what they're poking fun at and see what they're legitimately swiping and see that the story is at least enough of a story to carry the movie. And other than that, it's mainly just a vehicle for Dean Martin to be Dean Martin, which is honestly a lot of fun most of the time. So there you go. This is it's fun. I recommend it. It is the first of 4 Matt Helm movies. The grosses drop considerably every time, so I'm not sure how far into this series I'm going to watch, but I'm at least willing to pick up the second one.
Cool. What was that on?
It's on. All 4 of them are on Tubi.
On Tubi.
Yeah. The wiki actually says that this is a notable movie because it's the first film to ever have a post-credits scene.
Wow.
That's what this says. I have not attempted to verify this in any way, but it's got a teaser for the next movie. And considering the next movie came out 9 months later, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if they were already working on it by the time it's released. So.
Right. Cool.
Were there 4 or just 3?
The list I have shows 4. The Silencers, Murderers Row, The Ambushers, and The Wrecking Crew.
I couldn't remember if there were 3 or 4.
I don't think Wrecking Crew was ever made.
There was a 5th one that was never made called The Ravagers, or based on the novel The Ravagers, but Martin backed out. Yeah, but Wrecking Crew's on Tubi.
I recommend it. It's a good watch for sure.
Elkie Summer, Sharon Tate, Nancy Kwan, Tina Louise. Should be fun.
Sharon Tate. I've seen bits and pieces of these. It's been a long time, so I'm gonna have to sit down and watch them. Because I like Dean Martin, and of course, spy parodies can be pretty good. Some of them can. Right,
and I mean to call it a spy parody is harsh. It's actually better than that. It's a spy movie. It happens to be taking a very light look at the concept. It's definitely a lighter. It's lighter than the Vaughn series by a ways. I don't know that I would call it a parody though. At least not the first one. Okay. Silencers wasn't. Okay. They may turn that way before too long. I don't know. I haven't watched the rest yet, but so this one is actually kind of a serious take. I mean, it's a light take for sure, but
and that's probably why from what I had seen, I kind of took it as kind of a parody. That's probably the case.
Yeah, maybe.
So I stand corrected. Okay. Anything else?
No, that's what I got.
Okay. All right. Les?
Well, I've got a film for Liz.
Yay.
I saw a movie done in 2006 starring Jensen Ackles and his wife. Danielle Harris, I'm sorry.
Danielle?
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to call her that girl.
You what?
I used to call her that girl, being the wife.
Why?
That girl? That's Marlo Thomas.
Yeah.
I think she's cleaning it up.
That girl's Marlo Thomas. I don't know what you're talking about.
The movie is called 10-Inch Hero.
Is that the one that he has the mohawk in?
Yep.
Yep. That's a good one.
It's nothing more than fluff,
Yeah.
except when his wife was on screen.
Yeah, you definitely can tell why you married her. She's a cutie.
For a start, yeah.
Yeah.
It was one of those that was senseless. The main character looked a lot to me to be like was it not Owen Wilson, his brother.
Luke.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I had a tough time going, no, that looks like one of the Owen brothers. What the hell's going on? But I knew that the Owen brothers didn't do real serious movies when they could get away with other crap. So for me, that was about it. It was interesting. It was fun.
I liked his
watch it
part
a
in
second time.
And what was this called again?
10-Inch Hero. They work at a sandwich shop.
The sub shop.
Oh, Hero. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was wondering where the 10 inches was coming from.
I was trying not to think about it or ask, but anyway.
See, in my mind, didn't even go there.
Yeah, right. You believe that, Mike?
Not for a second, no.
This was kind of a different part for him to play, for sure.
Not really. He was playing what he always plays.
Well, normally
Smart
he
ass.
plays the but the rough stuff.
Yeah,
but
but
although he looked punk rock, he was a sensitive guy. I thought it was funny when he went in to buy the tampons, and they were laughing at him. He's like, "No, this just shows I have a woman and you don't." And she loves me and trusts me enough to buy these for her. But it was so funny the way he flipped it back on him. I have a woman and you don't.
Nice. Credit for that one.
Yeah.
And those guys showed up at the closing of the movie too. So
Yeah.
it's very interesting to see how they responded.
Yeah.
Did you see that part?
I don't remember it.
Oh, that was
Did they
good.
have women?
That's one that you need to watch then.
Yeah. It's got its moments. Like I said, not trying to be biased, but he does deliver some of the funnier lines and stuff in the film. But he's in no way like a main character. He is, but he isn't. So it was kind of smaller role for him. That was what, early 2000s?
Yeah, 2006, I think.
Yeah, he's a baby. Barely in his 20s then.
And that's what I've got.
Pretty cool. I approve.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Not much on my end. I did take a little bit of a rabbit hole. I've talked about before me watching some of the reactor videos. The people were watching either a movie or a show, and then they react to it.
Yeah.
There are some channels that what they do is mash up, and I hate those. So, and let me explain what it is, and you probably understand why I can't stand it. Is just pick a movie, it doesn't matter, or a TV show or something like that, and all of a sudden there are at least 10 or 12 other boxes around the screen of what the show or movie is going to be, and it's all these reactors, and they're all talking at the same time as they're watching this thing. And I'm like, and what's the enjoyment in this? What is it? Because it's nothing but someone talking at the entire time, as opposed to watching some of the stuff I watch, which is you're watching that scene about 500 times, but you're seeing the different reactors kind of respond to it, which it's kind of interesting to see.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get the mashups. But they're popular, so they're still done. So whatever. But I kind of the reason why I kind of went on this little rabbit hole is because I was pleased about the two movies that there happened to be a bunch of these for. One of them was Blazing Saddles. So it was kind of fun seeing them watch those particular scenes. And there's something if we talked about it, when we talked about Blazing Saddles, I don't remember us discussing it. One of the scenes that they're reacting to was the scene of the old woman saying "up yours in."
Yeah.
And then there's the next scene where Gene Wilder's, he's doing his whole spiel of being common people that are, all that kind of, morons.
Mm-hmm.
That was improvised.
Yeah, that was improvised. I've heard that.
So Cleavon Little's laugh is genuine.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't expect that. That makes me appreciate that scene even more.
Mm-hmm.
So it was Blazing Saddles. The other one was Airplane. And it's funny because there's like 3 or 4 of them and go, oh, so that's where that "Don't Call Me Shirley" came from. Oh, okay. Mm. They knew the meme, but they didn't know where it came from.
Mm-hmm.
And, but they love the films, and it's kind of cool that, because these are younger people, so they're watching stuff that we enjoyed when they first came out, just as much as we do. So.
I had watched a thing. I think Les has talked about him a few times on the show. He's like the professor of rock or something like that.
Uh-huh.
But he was talking about Aerosmith's "Walk This Way."
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how that song came about? Young Frankenstein's.
Oh, yeah.
When he said, "Walk
that.
This Way," they said they went to the movies for inspiration because they needed to finish Toys in the Attic. And they had it kind of worked out, but they didn't. They're like, we just need one song that'll just wrap all this up. So the guys went out on the town to kind of get inspiration from there. And they're like, they must have known because the town was dead. There was like nobody there. So instead, they went to the movies, and that was playing. And they came back, and they were still cutting up with each other. Hey, walk this way, like this, So they were, of course, we know the line, but they said Steven Tyler went back in the recording room, came out like 2 hours later, and boom, there was the song. #1 hit off that album. But I never would have guessed it had ties to Young Frankenstein.
Mm.
So we have Marty Feldman to thank.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We have Marty Feldman to thank for a lot of things, really.
Oh, God, yes. Oh, God, yes.
But that song's still kind of popular. It's like you were saying, these younger generations now, hopefully they'll check out where that came from, and maybe.
Well, I mean, I've seen something similar with the music, reacting to the music.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's like, "Oh, you need to react to this song," and it's, oh God, I am blanking on the name of the artist. It was a live performance for this Whiter Shade of Pale, right? Is that the title of it?
That's the title of the song, yeah.
Yeah. It was a live performance with an orchestra, and they were just they were blown away. They were just blown.
Yeah, that's like Disturbed's Song of Silence.
Yeah.
I like watching those because people aren't expecting that from him.
Right. And something similar was Nights in White Satin, which was performed with the orchestra.
Mm-hmm. That whole album was performed with an orchestra.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know, but this was a live performance, and you got to have the orchestra to do it, or do it justice, but.
Mm-hmm.
But just these people just responded, just like, "Oh wow, that's cool."
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, it's cool.
That's why they're the great.
That's why those songs are still performed or still played 50, 60 years later.
Yeah. Which is kind of why I like Songs of Silence, when you can take such a classic song like that and make it your own. It's word for word the same song, but there's definitely
it's a cover for sure. But
two different meanings behind both songs, And then people are like, "Oh my God, I didn't know he could sing that way." David Germain is classically trained. He used to be an altar boy and sing. That's what they have. They got to know how to sing, in any key. It's not an easy job. So, yeah, he's legit.
So, all right. Well, let's go ahead and take a break, and then we'll get into this week's discussion. Welcome back. We are doing something special this month for the next 4 weeks. It's Star Wars month.
Woohoo!
We're going to be talking Star Wars. Nothing but Star Wars. For the next few weeks. So, we don't talk a lot of Star Wars on here, but when we do, it's not usually very pleasant, but I think it'll be pleasant this time. We'll see.
I don't know. Which one are we starting with?
He's getting there.
So we are starting off this month with the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith, Episode 3, the concluding chapter of the prequels.
Which would have actually been, what, 6th in line?
It's the 6th movie. Yes.
Okay.
2005.
2005. So, with that said, what are your thoughts about this film?
I think I kind of had a different take on this than what most people do.
You watched The Blob again?
Right? I did. I thought we were watching Star Trek.
That's not even funny.
Beam me up, Scotty. I thought, for one, this movie does have the best fight scene ever in the Star Wars franchise, I think. I think when Anakin is going up against Obi,
that's what he's going to be known for forever. It's not Obi-Wan, it's Obi.
It's Obi.
Best buds.
I think him training him to fight, you could definitely tell he was matched. Perfect. Swing for swing. Bazing for bazing. I mean, it was perfectly matched. So I thought they did an amazing job on that. Like I said, I do think that's probably one of Star Wars' best fighting scenes that they had. Just because you knew, for one, the heartbreak that was going on, that this kid that I have trained is now taking my training and using it against me, you know. I can't remember who won that fight. I think it was an even draw, pretty much, wasn't it?
Well, one person walked away from that fight.
That was Anakin, right?
Yeah.
No.
Yep.
Anakin couldn't walk.
Ah,
Anakin was a charcoal briquette on the ground when it was
That's right.
over.
that's right.
I probably wouldn't have phrased it that way, but it's that.
I am just dramatically reminded of the Black Knight from Holy Grail. All right, we'll call it a draw.
Now, here's where
Just
people
about a
might
flesh
disagree
wound.
with me.
Mhm.
I think that Anakin was pushed there. I think that I don't think Obi helped his choice to become the dark side any at all. You know, almost a dick at certain points to him. A lot of people are like, well, if he sensed that he was going to go dark, why did you train him with everything you knew? Right? Why are you training this guy to fight if you know he's going to use it against you on the dark side?
You are straight
To
up
me,
hitting on one of the major philosophical problems with the prequels.
Mm.
So yeah.
But I also think, had he not brought Padima there at the end, when he brought her there and he thought he killed her, I think that Obi kind of knew that Anakin would go there, you know? And to me, that was the final straw for him that finally pushed him. I mean, after that, didn't he go and kill a bunch of kids? So I think for him,
No, that was
He
before.
killed kids. That was before.
did he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
you're kind of pointing out some of the stuff I was going to point out. But
oh,
go ahead.
No,
Go ahead.
That's
But-
fine.
It's fine.
but
It's
yeah,
not a problem.
I think had maybe they been a little bit more understanding with him, and I don't know, let him experience love. He was kind of downplayed for that, you know. Oh, we're not supposed to feel, but he did. So now you have to deal with that, because since you didn't deal with that, now he feels something else, and he's
Well-
on the dark side.
Well, it's funny. It's funny that you mention that, because if you watch the Clone Wars, you find out that Obi-Wan actually fell in love too.
Ah,
hmm
so it was.
So he should
Don't do
have
what I did.
understood.
So
Yeah.
he should have understood.
He should have. And you definitely shouldn't let a man father two babies that he doesn't know about. I mean, to me, that's kind of wrong, you know. But like I said, I'm not excusing Darth Vader. I hate to side with the bad guy. But through this movie, especially this last one, you can definitely see how, yes, he was making the wrong choices, but nobody was fighting him on that. It wasn't until he was finally full dark mode that, oh, wait a minute, up until then, like I said, Obi was almost a dick to him. Why should I be loyal to a guy who's a dick to me all the time,
I wouldn't go so far as saying being a dick, and I wouldn't say it was just Obi.
Yeah. Oh no, it wasn't.
It was the council and mainly the council and
the establishment.
Yes.
And Obi-Wan was following orders.
Yes.
That's the problem. Obi-Wan should have been the one to know not to follow orders when dealing with Anakin. He should have known better. Yeah. And the problem with the feelings thing is that the Jedi have been pulling this don't feel your feelings bullshit for centuries, if not millennia. They literally just didn't know how to deal with it anymore. They were so out of touch at that point.
Yep. They were. To where I think if he would have been able to love her, I don't think he would have went to the dark side.
If he hadn't wrapped his entire relationship with her in shadows and bullshit, it would have been a different story for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then you wouldn't have gotten Darth Vader out of the deal.
No. But with the way the movies turned out, did we need a Darth Vader? He was just a puppet. There was always a curtain or a little man behind the curtain, Which we were not there, but that was total bullshit when they brought him back. But okay.
Right, totally different movie.
Totally different movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he was pulling the shots all along.
I think one of the movie's failings is that it doesn't give Anakin enough credit for becoming Darth Vader. He had to be playing a part in that. There had to be a flaw in him that allowed that pushing to work as well as it did. There had to be whatever logical flaws he was making a lot of them the whole way through the prequel trilogy.
Yeah.
And I think I agree with you that yes, Sidious was pushing him very hard for a long time. But there were things there that Anakin wanted out of that, and I don't think he wanted to get there the way he did, but he wanted what he got.
Yeah. He wanted power.
He wanted the power. He wanted the control over everything. I don't think he wanted to be a charcoal briquette, but
no,
that's just the way it worked out.
But I think part of why he wanted control over everything is because he wanted control of himself. Your system is telling me I can't love this person. Your system is telling me I can't be this way. Your system is telling me I can't do this. But if I do this system over here, he thought he was going to get the girl, which was part of the reason he made the decision to do what he did, But I can be what I want to be. Nobody's telling me I can't do this. Nobody's telling me, So I think there was a lot of things that they didn't deal with that he found the best way he could deal with that. And when you're taught rebel versus, I forget what the other side's name is, but yeah, when your life is brought up, gray against red, you're going to, well, if gray's not working for me, I'm going to go see what red's going to do. Maybe I can live a life. Maybe I can be in control of my own destiny. And it's not a invisible force that's controlling me.
Right. And you could make an argument, and I'm sure many people have, that part of the issue here is that Anakin was never not a slave.
Yeah.
I mean, when Qui-Gon found him, purely by accident, he was a slave.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he was taken by Qui-Gon from the world he lived, where he lived, and was essentially forced to join this organization. I mean, how is that not just another form of slavery?
Yeah.
So he never knew what it was like to be free. So yeah, he liked the idea,
Yeah.
and
Well, and they
he
kind of
went
gave
too
him
far
stage
to
for
get
that.
it.
Mhm. Yep.
He went from being a slave to the Jedi to being a slave to the Sith
Yeah. Only
after
he
being
didn't.
a slave on Tatooine.
Yep. But he didn't know he was going to be a slave.
Sure, he didn't know any different. He didn't
They
know
made it.
what it meant or what it meant to be not a slave.
Yep.
He didn't have any way of knowing that. No one had ever let him experience freedom.
Yep.
I cannot
And
believe
all
I'm
he wanted
defending
was
this movie.
right. And all he wanted was family, which is kind of weird given how, you know,
Yeah, all he wanted
episode
was
one,
to
2, and
be
3
loved
went.
and
He just wanted love. Yeah.
Yep.
to hang around people that weren't trying to manipulate him or kill him.
Mhm.
But he never got that.
So you think if he would have known about Luke and Leia before, would that have changed anything? I mean, we saw how it changed at the very end for him. You know, he finally did the right thing, but do you think he would have done it sooner?
He knew she was pregnant.
But he thought he killed her.
No, he had already gone too far down the path by the time that happened.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think it would have made any
He was
difference.
already
Well,
lost.
He was
into
already
thinking
gone.
you killed the love of your life, would that not just totally push you over the edge?
Well, sure, but that was part of the manipulation. That was
Yep.
part of Sidious screwing with his head.
But not only Sidious, that was also Obi fucking with his head.
I think you could argue that Sidious was fucking with Obi,
Yeah.
and now you've got me calling him that.
Join us.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I have cookies.
Yeah, we didn't know where that was going. But yeah, the deal is that Sidious was essentially so powerful that he was controlling so much at once that, I mean, you can't, there's nothing that happens in any of these movies that Sidious isn't controlling it in some way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, it's effectively until Vader throws him into the heart of the Death Star.
Yeah. And I will say the love story was kind of hard to fall into on this one because the last time we saw them, she was like, what, 12 years older than him? So that was kind of weird.
It's only like 5, but
It was
yeah.
like 5. Supposedly in Phantom Menace, he was like 8 or 9.
He was
she
9.
was
And
13.
she's 14.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right.
she looked a lot older, but
Well, I mean,
Well,
Yeah.
guess what?
14-year-old girls look older than 9-year-old boys. That's just a
True.
given.
like I said, he just looked like a little kid, you know.
He was. And she was a teenager. Yeah. And that was when they met again in episode 2, she basically laughed. It was like, oh yeah, you're a little boy.
Yeah. See, I didn't watch these at the movies. And I marathoned them once, and I think first person I texted was Thomas. It was like, wait a minute, how old is she? What's going on here?
It's okay, because in the first movie, 1, nothing happens, and 2, they're both jailbait, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Right.
And then by the
Like I said, it
time
was
they
just kinda
fast
weird.
forward to the second movie, they're actually both grown-ups. Barely.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like 19 or something, 20.
Yeah, it was kind of,
Yeah. Because it's supposedly like 10 years later.
Yeah, it's fishy to begin with. I mean, the whole
Yeah.
thing is.
Mhm.
But honestly, I mean, you could also argue that that whole trilogy, all 3 of those movies, the whole story is fishy.
yeah.
The whole way. I mean, for one thing, it doesn't, you can't to do what they're doing, you can't follow a traditional story structure. Because nobody is accustomed to the end of the process producing the villain at the end. That's not what people are used to.
Yeah.
And so the whole thing varies wildly from what people are used to. And think I think the reputation of these stories suffers a bit. Of course, they also suffer from some really wooden performances and scripts. But that may just be my opinion.
I think if they would have approached it more as a maybe Darth Vader origin story, it would have went better. But you had too many origin stories going on there. And now, keep in mind, I am strictly Star Wars movies. I have never read the books. I've never read the comics. So I don't know anything of canon outside of the movies. But I think it would have been nice just to get his origin story. But instead, we also had, Obi's origin story going on. We had his master. There was just too many.
He's telling the story on too big a scope.
Right.
And
I think if they just would have picked one and centered.
Because the problem is that you're also giving us Palpatine's origin story.
Yeah.
And that's a very different scope than anything else in any of these movies. Because it's really big.
It is.
And it has to be. You have to tie in basically the entire galaxy to do that. And it's a lot. And I mean, to do where I think you're going with this is to do a Darth Vader origin story. You don't need 3 big long movies to do that.
No.
If you're doing that by itself. But they didn't.
Mm-mm.
For whatever, because they wanted to tell Palpatine.
They wanted a trilogy.
They wanted this is as much the Emperor's story as it is Vader's.
Yeah.
And that screws with the depth perception pretty hard.
But most people, especially 25 years after the original, that's who they knew. They should have stuck with that. And
well, that's who they put in all of the posters and stuff. I mean, the initial poster for Phantom Menace was young Anakin standing there with the shadow of Vader behind him. So that's what they were selling.
Yeah.
Was the Vader origin story. But that's not really what they gave us.
Mm-mm. No. Kind of.
Well, it was mixed in there.
With a lot of extra filler. Yeah.
If that's how you want to view it, sure.
And a 3-hour race?
You're going to offend Les again if you.
Oh, sorry.
3-hour tour.
A 3-hour tour.
It was really only about a 15-minute sequence, but boy, it dragged.
It did.
Something moving that fast shouldn't drag that much.
Mm-mm. That was, the first one?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the one we're supposed to be talking about.
Or the fourth
but
one.
You kind of can't talk about 3 without talking about 1 and 2 to some extent.
Right.
Sorry, Les.
Right.
That's just...
Yeah.
There's no way to set it up.
Well, we'll try, but, hey.
Yeah, I mean, all in all, I didn't think it was bad. I definitely thought... now, of course, I'm always a sucker for the original, just because nostalgia, I think this set of trilogy was definitely better than the last trilogy that they gave us. So, points for that, I guess.
Ouch.
Bar was pretty low, though.
Right, it wasn't the crap that nobody liked.
Right.
That's not true. That's not fair. I'm sure
It
there
wasn't
are people who liked it. But...
Disney-fied yet. It's getting there, but it wasn't there yet.
I don't know. I think you could, if just looking at episode 3 by itself, you could argue that one of the problems is it's a little too shiny. It actually is a bit Disney-fied. I mean, because
I could see that.
There's some pretty heinous shit going on in this movie. I mean, walking into a room full of children and walking
Yeah.
out having murdered them all. I mean, come on. I mean, okay, you can get away with some of that by not actually showing tiny heads flying off tiny bodies, but
Yeah.
there's no doubt as
Yeah.
to what happened because they telegraphed it in episode 2 with what he did with the Sand People.
Right.
Yep.
That was intentional.
And
He just didn't have
actually,
anybody to describe it to this time.
him murdering those kids is what made the big plot hole in Mandalorian. Because supposedly, during that time, Grogu, Baby Yoda, was supposed to have been there when all the kids were killed. So it's kind of a, yeah. Yeah. I
Well,
forgot where I was going with that. But yeah, they created a
Weird.
time hole
Yeah,
there.
that's weird.
Well, I mean, I'm about to expand that plot hole a little bit. It's because in the Obi-Wan series, one of the Inquisitors, I think it's called the Third Sister or something like that. She was a Padawan. She was there. She got stabbed by Anakin. They even showed it as a flashback, but she survived somehow and became Inquisitor.
Hmm.
Now Grogu, what's remaining Jedi, they got him out, which was a great little cameo and kind of a little payback, because the Jedi who actually got him out of there on a speeder bike. Have you seen that episode, Liz?
Which one? Is it?
Of Mandalorian.
Oh, yeah. I've seen all of
Grogu.
it. Yeah.
Okay. The actor that was playing the Jedi,
Uh-huh.
the black actor that was playing the Jedi that got him out of there through the speed bike and all that, Ahmad Best.
Huh.
The guy who played Jar Jar in episode 1.
Cute.
Yeah.
Nice touch.
And
Yeah, see, it wasn't Anakin, wasn't it, freaking Solo and Leia's kid,
Kylo.
Kylo.
And
Didn't he kind of do the same thing that Anakin did? And, like, kill a bunch of kids?
he in the Knights supposedly killed all
All of Luke's school.
all of Luke's school, yeah.
See, and I thought maybe that's where Grogu was when that happened. Because then they made him meet Luke like Luke had never met him before. Actually, they made it look like Luke had never even seen one. It was like, duh, he looks just like your old master. Remember him? Talk backwards. That's him, but little. But
They've never really explained where Grogu was during the sequel trilogy.
yeah,
They haven't gotten that far.
they're real good about not nailing a time down.
Yeah.
Because I think they kind of wanted it to float because they still had the last trilogy they were doing and didn't want to,
Piss off a bunch of nerds.
Yeah.
Well, they
Be
did
like,
it
well,
anyway.
where is he? Yeah, they
Right.
did.
Well, they couldn't win that one. They're either going to piss them off by telling them, or they're going to piss them off by not telling them.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what's going on in general.
See,
Whatever they do, there's going to be people who are going to be pissed about it, or they're going to be happy about it. There's nothing out there, with the exception of the first season of Andor. It seems like the first season of Andor is the only thing I've not really seen anything negative about, and we're way off topic.
Yeah.
We are.
That's okay.
What else is new?
But everything else, it's been either negative or been very mixed, but probably leaning toward negative.
I think anytime you have a show that lays a timeline down, for one, you're making a big mistake. Because once you lay a timeline down, you can't go against that timeline. There are people who study it, who have it tattooed on their body. They know that timeline. So then when you come back and go, oh, but wait a minute, this happened in between this, and they're like, no, it didn't. How could that have possibly happened? Because we have studied this frontwards, backwards, side to side, read the comic. There's no way that could have happened then,
I get what you're saying. Yeah, you probably shouldn't put down the timeline. If you don't, there's going to be people who are going to either put together a timeline or complain the fact that there's no timeline.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about like Batman. One of the greatest things about them is there's no timeline, so he doesn't age. You can go back and tell any story at any point in his life. We can do it young, we can do it old, because we haven't laid a timeline down for him.
The upside there is that they've been making Batman comics for 50 years before anybody gave a shit about a timeline. So
Yeah.
Right.
they have that to fall back on, I guess.
It just makes it a little more fluid in your storytelling if you can go back and forth. Then, because think about just these movies alone. How confusing was it to go, okay, 1, 2, and 3 is now 4, 5, 6, and people are like, wait, what? So it's always not going to end well when you've laid a timeline down. You've told us when this happened, but now you want us to back up. Okay, let's back up for 3 movies. Now we want you to speed forward way into the future when this shit happens. So it's kind of like, man.
Right. Wouldn't it have just been easier to not number them?
Exactly.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. But see, I still would have been 1, 2, and 3. It was the first movie put out. It's number 1. I know. I was there. Well, I wasn't.
Right.
But,
Why do you have to force it
I was there.
into that? I mean, yeah, it doesn't make sense, really, to have to. I mean, nobody would have cared. It would have just been prequels, and everybody would have been fine.
See, instead of a prequel, you could have been like, hey, this is Darth Vader's origin story. And for the second movie, we're going to do Obi's origin story, But no, we're going to give you a trilogy and mash it all together and let you sort it out.
I mean,
but then tell you were wrong in the next 3 movies that we're about to do.
There's no origin stories in those, but
there's kind of. We're seeing her origin.
You're introducing characters, but I don't know that counts as an origin. You're not going back to an older version of an existing character.
Right.
Anyway, probably being too technical about it.
Well, I guess her origin story was because it was telling it as it was happening, as it was originating. Because now if you retell it, that is her origin story.
Sure.
She found a droid, met a guy. Boom, I had the Force.
Well, now you're just being mean. Right. I mean, to flip it back, as far as whether I like Revenge of the Sith or not, short answer is no, but there are conditions there. I mean, I actually liked Attack of the Clones. To me, it was the movie that I guess screwed things up the least. It was the movie that sort of made sense. It led into the Clone Wars series, which I enjoyed the hell out of, even though
Which one was Attack of the Clones?
2.
2? Okay.
Yeah, the one right before this. But it was the one where things were... I mean, yes, the romance stuff was horrendously awkward and poorly done.
Mm-hmm.
But generally speaking, you've got a storyline which is building up to a large galactic-sized war. And the little things along the way that do that, and you're getting a sense of you're learning about Anakin as a grown-up essentially. Mm-hmm. You actually learn a little bit about Obi-Wan, just sort of as a Jedi, You learn about how weirdly the Jedi Council reacts to basically anything.
Yeah.
And they fell into the trap that they managed to accidentally create in the original trilogy, where the second movie is probably the best movie. My opinion, of course. Unfortunately, the thing with the third one, to get back to that finally, is that it's attempting to do something that, again, doesn't fit a traditional story structure. You're creating a villain, and you're building that. You're watching Anakin turn to the dark side, and unfortunately, you kind of don't really understand why, because he doesn't explain it.
Yeah.
Because by then he doesn't have anybody to talk to anymore. He's explaining what he's doing in 2 to Padme. He's not talking to Padme in the third movie. The only person he's talking to is Palpatine, and that is clearly a poisonous relationship.
Yeah.
And so you're just getting the hardcore. I mean, in a sense, in that regard, Episode 3 is Palpatine's movie. That's the rise of Sidious.
His rise, yeah.
More than, which honestly kind of overshadows the rise of Vader.
Does.
And I think that's a failure.
Well, it made him look like a puppet.
Right, like you were saying.
And,
I'm agreeing
yeah.
with you here. That's
well,
the deal.
And even when he was Darth Vader, they still were pushing him around. I mean, think about the first movie. They still were telling him what to do, and you have to do this. Bitch, I'm the Dark Lord. I can do what I want, but no, they're still calling the shots for him.
Right. Why does he even bother listening to Tarkin at any point in that movie? I mean,
well, and the freedom
all props
he was
to Peter
promised.
Cushing, and he's only in that movie for about 7 minutes or something. I don't know what it really is, but I mean, Vader's basically just sort of following around like a puppy.
Yeah.
The whole time.
Doing what he's told,
Well, and if we want to be honest here, George Lucas didn't know what to do. He believe me, if he had gone back, if he'd known that Vader, he really wanted Vader to be the focus of the films, which I don't think that was his intention from the get-go.
Yeah.
That's why Vader's basically a lackey. If that was if he wanted Vader to be the focus of the films, which he now says this is Anakin's story, not Luke's story, then that wouldn't have happened. I don't see him basically taking words from Tarkin and be more of a level.
Well, it would be him giving the orders. Go down and look.
Orders.
No, you go down and look.
Well,
he wants you over here. You go over there.
I think it would have been more of a level playing field.
Yeah. But no, he was kind of used just as a pawn.
But he was a lackey.
Yeah.
He was, like Jaws was in the Bond films. He was the muscle. And then all of a sudden he took off, so it's like, okay, well, we need to make a focus on him then.
Yeah.
So
I do think he missed a golden opportunity with Darth Vader. He should have done more with him. I see, and that's I don't know if he planned after 3. Obviously he didn't, because I think that he killed him too soon. That he could have been the big bad that we all wanted, Well, but instead, it was kind of a tragic story. All he wanted was family, and at the end, gave up himself for that family.
He had a plan, but it changes. It changed so much.
He changed gears so many times in the making of those 3 movies.
Yeah.
That your head would spin trying to keep track.
Yeah. Well, he said he had it all mapped out, and it's like, no, because you wouldn't have had him kiss his sister if he did. I'm sorry, you just wouldn't have done that.
They kissed twice before that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Because, you know, we were thinking that was the love interest, and now all of a sudden they're brother and sister. And
Well,
now she's in love with Solo, so it was like,
it was,
wait, what? When did that happen?
it was a love triangle, and to solve that, well, you make two of them siblings.
Yeah, but not just siblings; they're twins. It's like, wow, talk about being in love with yourself. You know?
I want to say a couple things, but I want to get Les in here because he's been kind of quiet. I want to get his thoughts before I start chiming in.
Personally, I agree with the last statement.
Talking Star Wars, not Doctor Who.
Nothing but Star Wars.
You know,
Thank
a long
you,
time
Bill
ago,
Murray.
in a galaxy far, far, far away.
Something, something, something dark side.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Personally, I thought the film itself was legit. I think that the layout for it was well conceived. I know that everybody is thinking it could have been done in less number of movies or whatever. But to me, the idea of Vader was very, very hot to handle. I don't think that the origin of Vader could be told in a single movie. I don't think it really was something that you could just stretch out there and go, yeah, well, this is what we wanted. Obviously, the storyline was from Lucas, and he had a certain idea of what he wanted. The writers took a little extra to make these movies work, and I thought that the action itself was pretty on. It was fun to see them fighting and be angry with each other. I thoroughly enjoyed it. That's not to say it didn't have its faults.
Yeah.
But I can also live with that for a part-time. And I'm just thinking that, what can I say?
You're thinking that we're overthinking this thing.
Well, see, that's what I was about to say.
A little bit.
I still watch this. I mean, I didn't think it was like bad, but I do have a tendency to pick things apart because I even pick SpongeBob apart, and I like him.
Wow.
I do. I overthink it, but it's not bad. Like I said, it definitely wasn't the worst out of all of this.
No, I don't think it was either. I think, to me, the movies that were worse were the three that followed this.
Mm-hmm.
The last three were just incredibly
Grasping at straws. Yeah.
kind of, sort of. The idea that we have to break down Luke's feelings and the fact that he loved this girl, and then he did away with her, I think it's a little bit far-fetched, because this was Spielberg writing a lot of it. And as we know, Spielberg couldn't write a love story worth crap.
Yeah.
That was
E.T. was pretty good.
Huh?
E.T. was pretty good. Wasn't that a love story? Kind of like boy and his dog, but alien.
Then I'm going to say that Close Encounters was a love story.
Yeah, kind of.
No.
He was in love with that mountain. Did you see those mashed potatoes?
Was 1941 a love story?
Yeah, there's a question for you.
I can't recall that one. You can make anything a love story, though.
No.
You can, and not everybody should
You
try.
can.
Because you can make a lot of bad love stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, just look at Love Story.
The title is a dead giveaway.
Yeah.
Or Out of Africa. God, that was so fucking much a boring movie. You didn't know what was going to happen, then you should be strung up by your thumbs.
In Titanic.
Huh?
In Titanic.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Just for the record, Jack could have fit on that door. Just saying. So the guy she had a fling with, she let freeze in the water. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I don't want to get my shoes wet. You got to stay there.
When I went to see Titanic, getting off a little bit, just before the movie started, I was sitting down the row from my close friend, and I looked at him and said, "You mean the ship goes down and sinks? And you should have seen the people sitting there going, what? What?"
Yeah. Did that really happen?
Yeah, kind of sort of did.
How do you know this story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you listen to somebody online? No.
Right. Where did you get your spoilers from?
He read the book.
History?
Yeah, his history told us that one.
It still
Which
cracks
is
me up.
funny.
It still cracks me up that one of the most opulent cruise ships ever built. Where do they go to have sex? The backseat of a car in the hold.
A car. Yeah. And she just met that guy. He came from steerage.
I know, right?
I think what gets me the most is, okay, you had a fling with a guy one night. They only had one night together. And you have this $85 million necklace that this other guy has been searching his whole entire life for. And you just throw it in the water. Damn.
Apparently,
How cold can you be?
apparently,
You know?
like Frankenstein's monster, that's where pretty things go. So she threw Jack in the water, and she threw the necklace in the water.
Apparently.
I mean, come on. It's all a running theme. That whole thing is a total parody of Frankenstein. It's got to be it.
It's gotta be.
Doesn't make sense otherwise. I mean, that doesn't make sense either, but, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, but let's hang our hat on it.
I remember when that movie came out, it had 2 VCR tapes. And my son, James, he loved the movie, but he would only watch the one where the boat was going down, which was the second tape.
Hmm.
So he only watched the second one.
I felt that way in the theater when I saw it
Yeah.
because that movie, it's a really pretty spectacle of a movie for the first 2 hours,
Yeah.
and then they turned on the water. I had to piss like you would not believe at that point, man.
Yeah.
I had to
I don't
leave. I
know.
had to go to the bathroom, man. I couldn't sit there anymore.
During the whole love story, I was like, where's the damn iceberg? I mean, let's get this going. Yeah, she's cheating on her husband. Let's get this going. I can get behind this.
It's like
Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah. Another bad love story.
It's
someone's watching the clock. I
right.
can tell.
Another bad love story. Yes,
Yeah.
does not end well.
Like I said, this one I did kind of feel sorry for him. So
For who?
I feel for Darth Vader.
Oh, okay.
I think if Anakin would have had, I don't know, somebody who was a little bit more understanding of their feelings, I don't think he would have went down the path that he did. If maybe they would have let him control his own life for a little longer, or just a little bit.
Ever for
Ever.
even a minute,
Yeah.
right?
I don't think he would. And think about how sad that is. He gave up everything for control of his life just to be controlled again.
Mm-hmm.
Different day, different force,
Yep.
Come see, come saw. But what?
Que sera, sera. Like I mentioned earlier, I saw the original film, not day one, but probably in the first month, back in '77,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the things I've always, as a kid, I've always kind of imagined. I always imagined that fight between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader. Not knowing, well, I mean, let me take that back. It was Obi-Wan and Luke's father versus Darth Vader, because didn't know the
that's what
two
they
were the
told
same.
us.
That's
Yeah.
what they told us. So when this movie came out, I was floored by that fight. It was incredible. It was intense,
Yeah.
and not just in action, but you could feel it emotionally.
Yeah.
You could feel it. That was incredible. That's one of the few things I can talk about for this film.
Yeah.
I've never been shy about this. I've always been very disappointed in the handling of Padme in this film. Here is a woman, as we've already talked about, she was queen at 14, and she's rallying her people to battle an occupying force of her planet. This is how we meet her. Then fast forward to the next film where she is now a senator, and despite threats against her life, she is doing what she feels is right and the best thing for the galaxy. Now we're here to episode 3. Everything's going to pot, and she says, "You know what? Fuck it. I'm out of here. I'm going to die."
Yeah.
Really? Really?
Right.
Especially when you're pregnant.
That was the point where she decided it was time to give up.
It's time. I'm done with this.
Well, did he ever find out she was alive?
No.
No.
Palpatine told him, "You killed her."
Okay.
And I think that, honestly, I think that was Lucas's intention. I think he was going to have Anakin kill her when he strangled her with the Force. But I think he thought that may be too much. But I'm like, dude, 5 minutes ago you just implied he killed a bunch of kids with the lightsaber.
Right.
Right, how is this any
How
different?
How is this a bridge too far?
Well, I mean, if he would have killed her, of course Luke and Leia wouldn't have come along.
Well, the simple solution to that is you have the kids born before
Right.
that scene. That's the simple solution. It's not that hard.
Birth and privacy or secrecy.
I guess, yeah. I mean, that's what they ended up doing anyway, so why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, I still think it's sad though. I don't know. I don't think he meant to kill her, and I think when he did, and you see that look on his face, it was kind of like, fuck, who did I didn't mean to attack her, you know? So for them to play on that of, oh, you killed her and your babies too, I mean, that was just cruel.
Well, I mean,
hell yeah, it was. It was meant to be manipulative. That's the whole thing.
But it backfired.
Well, I mean, because I just watched this again recently, so it's fresh in my memory. He turned around and accused Obi-Wan of turning her against him.
Mm-hmm. Which, if you think about it, didn't he kind of? She gave up where he was and everything else, and not only that, brought him to him. Yeah, you betrayed me. You're supposed to be the love of my life. I'm about to give up everything for you, and you brought this guy here who wants to kill me. I mean, you can tell the betrayal there. I've done everything for you, and look what you did, you know.
I don't think that's what she was trying to do. She was trying. I don't think she even knew that Obi-Wan was there. She just.
Obi-Wan snuck aboard the ship.
Snuck up.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
So
he was hiding.
She showed up. She showed up there to try to reason with him and try to get him back off the edge, but he had already jumped off the edge by that point.
Yeah, he jumped off the edge in that room with them kids.
You can see from that though what he thought.
Because he turned around and started giving him the speech, essentially the same speech he would give Luke in Empire. Join me, we can rule the galaxy. Everything will be great. We'll live in peace. Now I'm going to be ruling everything, but we'll be living in peace.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I can't follow you. This is not something I can go. Yeah. This is not right.
I can't get behind this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then when Obi-Wan showed up, and you betrayed me, so that's why I'm going to try to kill you.
I don't think he meant to kill her though. I think it was you know what kind of oh my God, you know, that's why he was so shocked when he actually did it, because it was like it was kind of when you say the quiet part out loud, I didn't mean to do that. I thought that, but I didn't mean to do that. But how does the Force work? You think it, right? you know.
And I mean, on top of that,
he actually have control to do that.
And on top of that, you've got just the sheer rage of the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the fact that he still has never learned to control his powers.
Yeah.
And he's also acquired a significant power upgrade recently.
Yeah.
Killing all his kids.
He hasn't figured out how to control it.
Yeah. And not saying I'm not excusing an abuser. I'm not. But the way they set it up, like I said, I really don't think he meant to do that.
Sure.
I think when he saw Obi come out of that ship, it was just kind of, like I said, you know, I'm giving up everything for you, and here's this guy, you know, worse than cheating on me. You brought this guy here. Because, of course, you know, he killed her before they could explain. But didn't Obi kind of know that's the way it was going to look? So didn't he kind of put her in danger that way by walking out on the ship?
Oh, yeah. Whether he knew that's what was going to happen or not, he definitely put her in danger by walking out of the ship right then.
Yeah.
That was the worst possible timing.
Yeah, like I said, I myself, I kind of felt bad for him. I felt that he had been played all the way to that point to make that point. And that was his intentions. He didn't, to me, I felt like he was doing it more for love than, but that's the girl in me.
Yeah,
he did it for love.
He was trying to acquire extra power where he could protect her.
Yeah.
And protect the child.
For whatever consequences were going to come from him loving her.
Not well, in not realizing what that was going to cost.
Yeah. He didn't read the fine print.
The deal is they had that, Anakin and Padme had that conversation before at least once, and he should have known that she wouldn't have accepted that.
Yeah.
That wasn't how her world worked.
Well, that was before babies too, though, wasn't it?
Yes.
So I think that was, okay, she didn't want this now, but now she's pregnant. She really needs the protection,
Yeah.
She may not think she needs this, but, she's pissed off a lot of important people, too, at that point.
Doing what in that movie? She did nothing.
No, didn't she go against the council in that one? And that's what she told her girls, it's about to start. This is what I didn't want to happen. This is what's happening.
She basically just showed up and like, what's going on? And basically it
had already happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. She didn't have
any. She had rallied the people.
She had
very little to do with the film other than giving birth to the kids.
Yeah.
That was her entire job for the film.
Right.
Is to give birth. Which goes back to what I was saying from the get-go. She got shafted as a character.
Yep.
Yeah, she got written out of the movie.
Yes.
She got written out of the story.
And for someone who gives up the will to live, one of the last things you say to Obi-Wan, they're still good in him. If they're still good in him, why are you freaking giving up?
Yeah.
Why aren't you trying to fight to bring back that good? What the hell?
She could have. As much as he cared about her and the things he was doing. If anybody could have, she could have.
She is a fighter.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen that in the previous two movies. Why is this? Oh fuck it. Never mind.
And
we'll
the
get
deal
there
here,
this week. Or this month.
And the deal here is that to make Darth Vader, she had to die.
I get that.
Yeah.
The problem is she went from being a really cool character in the first two movies to being a minor plot device in the third.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
for sure.
That kind of sucked.
I would agree with that.
That's what really pisses me off most about the film. Is she's literally thrown away.
Yep.
I would have preferred it if he had actually killed her in rage of feeling like he's been betrayed. Then just this whole thing of, everything, the Republic's gone, the Jedi Council, the Jedis are gone, my husband has turned evil, everything's just so horrible, I can't deal with this. It just, it's a little much, but holy shit.
And if it's any consolation, where we find out that she lost the will to live was somebody else saying it.
Yeah.
It wasn't her.
Right.
She didn't say that. Somebody else misinterpreted her on on a colossal scale.
Right.
So I don't know. Which just goes to show you, because that was the whole Jedi thing. They spent all of this series of movies failing to understand the world around them.
Yep.
Just complete and utter failure to understand what's happening.
Yeah.
I mean, was it being obscured? Yes, absolutely. Was there plenty of opportunities to see the weird shit that's happening and do something about it? There was, and they chose not to most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
How would you have rewritten it then?
Oh,
How would you folks decide that, or what would you decide to do to make it flow forward again? If she was not killed, what would you do?
I don't have a problem with her being killed. That had to happen, because that would explain her absence in the other films that were already made. I get that. I don't have a problem with that. I just
she needed to give birth before that scene, and I think it would have made more sense for Anakin to intentionally or accidentally, however you want to do it, kill Padme.
Kill her.
Yeah.
I think it's the only way that really makes sense, and
because that was his final push.
Right.
Do you think that that she had the same mid-chlorians or whatever the hell it was that
that Anakin did?
Anakin did, yeah. Because I doubt seriously.
I mean, not to that extent, but I mean, clearly there was something. I mean, there had to be. I mean, although honestly, I mean, she didn't have enough to make super children on the level that Anakin was, because I mean, obviously Luke and Leia are not super children in that regard.
Well, the last three kind of made them super children.
I did not watch all of them, so I don't know. But
they made Leia fly. Yeah.
I thought Leia got flushed out of an airlock. That would make anybody fly.
Yeah. No, she flew back to the ship. Not out. She flew back.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you don't necessarily need to be a super child to do that. You just need to have some training in the Force, which she did. She should have anyway.
Yeah. I mean, if Luke did, she had to have.
Yeah, I can't imagine Luke would let her not have some minor training.
Yeah, she did. Because there was a flashback in Rise of Skywalker where they were doing lightsaber training.
Yeah.
There you go.
So yeah, she was she had some training in the Force.
So yeah, I mean, in that sense, I mean, if you're hinting at the idea that maybe she was just a plot device all along, sure, I can buy that to an extent. She was at least a much more entertaining plot device in the first two movies.
Yeah. Well, I think that's part of the problem is they built her up too much in the first and just kind of, like Thomas said, kind of dropped the ball in the third one with her. There should have been a reason to give her that build up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just don't think they knew how to handle her. They knew that babies had to be born and she had to push him to that side, but other than that, I don't know.
I might even argue that Lucas just didn't have the huevos to have Anakin kill her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely believe that.
Yeah.
I mean, a room full of kids, sure, but obviously, Padme, no, that's off limits.
Yeah.
I don't agree. I think it should have been the other way, but whatever.
And
I think the baby should have been born in secret, and then he actually killed her.
And I'll give you an example of that. The whole controversy with Greedo and Han in the first film.
Yeah.
With him playing around with that. Well, okay, Han shouldn't have fired at Greedo, even though Greedo was pointing a blaster at him. So let's make it to where Greedo fired first, and then Han retaliated, which blew up. And then so he finally made it where they fired at the same time. Because that's what it is now. For posterity, they fired at the same. They fired at the same time, and somehow Han moves his head and fires a blaster at the same time and kills Greedo. And the reason why, he thought that made Han look bad. That he killed Greedo. Like there was a blaster pointed at him.
Kill or be killed. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do we go back to the old westerns that had similar scenes, and we need to change those because it was the good guy who killed the bad guy? I mean,
yeah.
So I don't know. So I mean, I do like I overall like the film. There were some fun parts, and I know, but the handling of Padme was so horrible. I just can't stop thinking about it. But I for the most part, I do like the film. I do love the fact that Lucas continued the whole parallels that he did in the other two films, with it may have been a little bit too on the nose, but that beginning with Obi-Wan and Anakin dueling Dooku, with Palpatine happened to be in a big chair in the middle of nowhere, but he happens to be cuffed. But I mean, it's literally Jedi. It's literally Return of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Right down to him, talking to Skywalker into killing the Sith Lord and take his place.
Yep.
Well, he didn't say take his place, but I mean, it was pretty much. And the thing is, it kind of makes me sad for Dooku, because Dooku was basically he was a temp. He was there until he can get his hands on Skywalker to turn.
Well, I mean, just like anything else, he's there until he's not useful anymore. Or
right.
Until something else comes along that is more useful.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't feel that way about Maul, but I did about Dooku, because I think maybe it's just because I'm a big Christopher Lee fan, but
Could be.
All right. On that note, let's take a quick break, and we'll be back with Geek News for You. And we're back. It's time for Geek News for You. In this segment, we bring a couple of news items to the table for discussion. And this week, it is Mikey and me. And Mikey, would you go first, please, sir?
Oh, sure. It was funny because I was looking around and struggling to find an interesting news item. There just didn't seem to be anything interesting in there. And I actually found this from a link in another article I was looking at. And it was entirely news to me. I had no idea that Apple Plus is in the middle of making a series based on Neuromancer. I had no idea this was happening. I mean, clearly I pay no attention to the news because I'm assuming this has been going on a while.
I wasn't aware of it.
It
I was
appears
going to say, I haven't heard of it either.
it appears that it's been shooting for a while already in Tokyo. It's going to be a 10-episode series so far. The air date has not been announced at this point. But if you're not familiar with Neuromancer, it was written by William Gibson back in like '82, I think. And it is if there is a single novel that defined a subgenre, Neuromancer is that for the cyberpunk. It's the book that started it all, essentially, or at least got it launched. So it's as sci-fi goes, it's kind of important. And I had no idea they were doing this, and I am, other than it being on Apple Plus, I am very much interested in how this is going to work out, because there's some names here. Mark Strong is in this. Peter Sarsgaard is in it. Dane DeHaan, Callum Turner. It looks, and there's this article that I have has some behind the scenes shots of the set, so looks pretty cool to me.
That sounds cool.
Mm-hmm.
I am excited. I'm
I-
as excited as I ever get about TV. So
I had not heard of that.
yeah.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. When I saw this, I thought, well, this would be just an update from something I reported on before, and then I realized I didn't report on this, so I guess I get to report on it and do the update.
We get all around, huh?
Well, the reason was because I discussed it with y'all off record. So, about a few weeks back, a news item came out saying that Armie Hammer is starring in a new film that's being directed by Uwe Ball about a vigilante. What was it again? A man who takes justice into his own hands and sets out to hunt down criminals. His vigilante crusade turns him into a social media sensation and a hero in the eyes of the public. Now, the film was titled Dark Knight. Is this ringing the bell now?
Oh
Yeah.
Let's discuss this.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Well, here is the update. The film has now been renamed to Citizen Vigilante after apparently hearing from Batman fans and, more importantly, Warner Brothers.
I bet.
Yeah.
So, yes, it's now called Citizen Vigilante. I didn't see... I don't remember it saying when it was going to actually come out. Now, apparently there was a promo reel shown at Cannes Film Festival. But yeah, there's no release date yet.
That's crazy.
I mean, what do they expect? I mean,
Yeah.
If anything, let's be real. This was done on purpose. This was done so people would be talking about this, and I fell for it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about it.
Sucker.
Oh, it's like telling an Amazon story and calling it Great Woman. Or Great Girl, I guess, huh? Yeah. Wonder where you got that.
So.
And isn't there already a movie called The Dark Knight? I think I got in trouble because we did that for an all-on horror, and I watched one that was like Dark Knight instead of The Dark Knight. So my second movie I didn't watch because I got.
You watched The Blob again.
There's only been two, and I think it was The Blob and The Dark Knight, or maybe it was The Scarecrow or something.
This was one
like
of the Scarecrow ones. Yeah, I think you.
Yeah, it was Scarecrow. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think you watched one of those. Yeah, because there's only, as far as I know, there's only The Dark Knight, and that's obviously the Batman film.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and all of the Scarecrow movies we watched, the titles were very similar, so.
Okay.
Yes.
Maybe that's what it was.
Totally understandable when you did it, but yeah.
Right.
Of course, it was you that did it, but.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had just told the story of me doing it the first time. It's like, fuck, you guys aren't going to believe this.
So we'll see.
Yep.
We'll see what happens.
Huh.
Hope it goes well.
Yep. Interesting.
It's an Uwe Boll movie. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Alrighty. Any special shout-outs or mentions this week?
Not me.
Nope.
Nothing here.
Okay. We'll go ahead and go on to our regular shout-outs. First of all, I want to thank Pop Goes the Culture for allowing us to be part of a great little podcast network. We recommend that you check them out. There will be a link in our show notes. We also want to say thank you to the fine folks who spread the word of the fellowship on Twitter by retweeting our links, and that is Potter and Family. Best way to check them out is to do a search, hashtag Potter and Family, all one word, and just scroll through, and whatever catches your attention, by all means, check them out. I hope you have a good time listening to them. I want to thank Manny the Martyr for supplying the music to the podcast. You go to our show notes, that you will be able to check out some of their other fine music. And finally, you, dear listener, thank you for downloading and listening to today's episode. We value your feedback. Our email address is email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. Or you can go to the website, go to the About Us page, and there's a contact form that you can fill out there. We do have a Discord. Feel free to join us. We do have an open invitation on our homepage. We post a lot of news items, stuff for discussion, stuff to laugh at, stuff to jam out to. We'll have activities on there from time to time. Sign up for Discord is free, and the apps are free in the app stores, so come join us today if you'd like. Social media, we're on Facebook, The Fellowship of the Geeks. We're on Instagram, Bluesky, and Twitter as @Fellowship Geeks. If you want to join our personal Twitter accounts, Mike can be found @MikeyGeek. Liz can be found @LN_geek. Les may or may not be found @FakeLesWebster. And I can be found @TomTCGeek. And from wherever you download our episodes, if you'd be so kind as to rate and review the show, it would be greatly appreciated. Anything else before we say goodbye?
Just thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Appreciate you listening.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We appreciate the support as always. Until next time, geek on, my friends.
We thank you for listening to the show. Comments, suggestions, and questions can be sent to email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can follow us on Facebook @The Fellowship of the Geeks and on Twitter @Fellowship Geeks. Until next time,